Evening, Scruffy McGuff here. It's your time. Do what you want to do. Anyway, I don't know. Probably just a very quick, short message. I'm working on a couple other videos. I want to do another one, another part to the how addicts see non-addicts, things like that. I'm working on changing some of my verbiage to more accurately represent where I'm at and the fact that I'm an addict living in recovery or an ex-addict, recovering addict. Um, in that same mindset, we do a thing here, and I haven't done it as often. I still do it myself, but usually every night the guys at the house get together and they do a thing called Gratefuls, um, and it's to remind yourself what it is you're grateful for. Um, this is actually a pretty common practice in a lot of rehabs and recovery environments and stuff. And there's actually a physiological reason for it. And it helps to start reprogramming the brain. Um, I personally, I do them in the morning, usually on my drive to work. Um, what this facilitates, pardon me, I don't have my teeth in, so I'm tired, is if you're constantly reminding yourself of the things you're grateful for and finding new things that you are grateful for or have feel true gratitude for, because gratitude is actually an action word, it's a verb. To truly show gratitude is to perform an action of some type. You know, you're grateful for your health in your life. One of the ways you can show that gratitude is continuing to eat healthy and be a healthy, maintain the physical health of your temple, so forth and so on. So that's the big thing. That and it I've talked a lot about how the subconscious mind seeks to validate itself or just constantly reinforce anything that you put in there, anything you program in, which means you will notice certain patterns and things like this in your life, and you will notice and attract certain people, situations, all of this stuff. So by making a list of things you're grateful for every day, and I personally try to add something to that list or change something on that list. Most people, they get in the habit of rattling off the same 5 to 10 things every day. I'm grateful for my health, my sobriety, a roof over my head, food in my belly, a job, a car. Yes, I'm absolutely grateful for all those things. I'm grateful for my connection to the Most High. I am, grateful for my sobriety. Obviously, I'm grateful for my healing journey. I'm grateful for the hardships I've been through because they have been lessons. I'm grateful that I had the resilience, the strength, and the wherewithal to learn those lessons as best I could. Of course, I have some to repeat or find a different aspect of that particular lesson. Um, One I'm fond of saying, and this is also a prayer that I like to say, is that I'm grateful for the willingness to love myself the way the universe or God loves me. Um, Very effective and it's very powerful. Um, so yeah, grateful lists or gratitude lists. Um, they seem silly. They seem redundant. They seem very simple, but they are actually very effective. It does not take long before you will start to perceive and see the world slightly differently. By reminding yourself of all the things you're grateful for, you will start to recognize the things you're grateful for a lot easier in your everyday life. Um, you won't always focus so much on the negative or the lack. Start to break the pattern of that lack mindset. Of course, the opposite of a lack mindset is a mindset of abundance. And once you start to vibrate in that mindset of abundance and love and faith, belief, you will start to see it everywhere. You will start to see that it was always there. I'm very fond of saying heaven and hell is your life on earth and what you make it. And I'll get more into that in another video. But, so yeah, gratefulness, gratitude, good practice, good habit to be in. Am I perfect? No. I've definitely been slacking, which is probably why I'm making this video. Not only is it for anybody who watches it, but it's also a reminder to myself. I'm grateful for my viewers. I'm grateful that I've had the courage to put myself out there authentically. No filters, no hashtags, no whatever. At some point, I will maybe promote these. Maybe when I come up with a slightly more succinct format. I realize that sometimes I kind of just ramble and stream of consciousness, and that wasn't necessarily by design, but it felt right. I think in the world we live in, and with the amount of social media and AI taking over everything as far as content creation goes, that there is a lot of cookie cutter patterns out there, and that, especially with a lot of the social media, whether it be Facebook or Insta or TikTok or Twitter, now X, whatever, the list goes on and on, all we ever see is a minuscule amount, and it's whatever people want to show us, which of course is always going to be their A game. I find raw authenticity rare, and that's one of the things I wanted to convey with these, and I hope I have. I think I have. I know they can be kind of serious and somber at times, but I guess I'm a serious kind of guy. I can be. I can also be a complete jackass, quite honestly, and a total pervert. But whatever. I am not perfect. I'm grateful I'm not perfect. I actually, quite honestly, I really am. I'm truly becoming grateful for who I am. And I am truly starting to learn how to completely embrace myself, my authenticity, who I am on the inside, my soul, my heart. And by doing so, obviously taking my power back and embracing the gifts I have and talents I have and all of those things. Does it mean that I live somewhat isolated? Yes, it does. I'm very protective of my energy anymore. And yes, even as raw as I can be in some of these videos, you all only see a very small percentage of my life. I think I'm a little more willing to share certain things because I feel that the message helps people, and I'm grateful for the people it does. Do I count my subscribers or views? No, I really don't. I notice, yes, but am I going to stop if I don't get a lot of views, or anything? No. And at the same time, am I going to let on the occasion, I think I've had 2 videos now reach over 100 views, and I've had a couple of shorts reach over 1,000. It's like, well, okay, that was nice, but you know, I don't do it for the numbers. Funny enough, this whole thing started as really just kind of I was keeping a video journal for myself, and it was um, not only several people here at the house, but my sisters, well, quite a few people actually, over the last several years now, have told me that I really need to give my testimony and my experience and my knowledge, and, for lack of better terms, my wisdom, as I've been told, to the world. Um, so I'm trying. I know I shouldn't smoke on camera. That's the next big one. I have cut back actually, but that's the next big quitting thing. That, that's the next thing I'm going to change. Um, so yeah, I'm obviously grateful for my sobriety. Um, I'm grateful I know the meaning of serenity and peace within myself. I'm grateful I'm comfortable in my own skin, that I can sit in silence and be completely fine, whether I'm alone or in a room full of people. I'm grateful that I can at least acknowledge and identify when I start to seek outside validation. And that's not to say that I don't want basic courtesies. Of course, I appreciate when somebody says thank you if I do them a favor. Everyone does. Of course, I want that to be acknowledged, But do I do it for the sake of the acknowledgement? No, I don't. Even here at the sober house, a lot of guys know that there's a lot of times I will do things and not say a single word. It could be something as simple as I need to get into the laundry facility, so I'll throw a guy's stuff in the dryer, and I don't walk around and brag about it. If I'm there and I need a dryer, I'll actually pull their stuff out, fold it for them, and leave it on a pile on the counter. And same thing, I don't say a word to anyone. You know, that was something I picked up in another rehab, and one of my sponsors used to tell me to do that all the time. Do 5 random acts of kindness and not say a word to anyone about it. Don't tell anyone. Do it literally for the sake of doing it, for the act of kindness, period, in general. Let the action speak for itself. Why do you need the credit? You don't. Is it nice? Sure. But you shouldn't do it expecting that. I've, having been homeless in my life several times, and I've been a panhandler, you know, I've been the guy in a corner holding a sign many, many times. And I've had many blessings and I've had many horrible experiences with it too. But the one that used to always amaze me were the people who would come up and either, give me food, or um, down in one city I was in, there was a group that used to actually pass out backpacks with like all kinds of stuff, from small pillow, pairs of socks, underwear, hygiene stuff, stuff that you need when you're homeless. But then they would want to take a picture with you and put it on Facebook. Really? Why? Apparently, this is a big fad. Kind of reminds me of a story. I'm staying at a faith-based sober house. So, which, if anybody who's ever known me in person knows that this was the farthest, like, you would have never ever put money on the fact that I would have ever ended up at a place like this. Um, I was terrified when I first came here. I am not even going to lie. But it's worked out. But, there's a particular story. Anybody who's ever seriously studied um, this particular literature, um, the Bible, knows that the ascended Master Jesus was not always sunshine and rainbows. There's quite a few stories of him, we'll call it righteous justice, inflicting this, like the story when he goes into the marketplace and flips all the tables and comes in with a whip, basically. And I believe he was quoted as saying, "The vanity of your house disgusts me." When I tell the story about the people who would help homeless and then, you know, take pictures with them and post a big story on their social media to get accolades, it reminds me of that particular quote. The vanity of their actions disgust me. I don't know why I'm talking about this. This was not what I originally started with, but we'll call it a channeled message. There it is. So, be grateful that you had the ability, the will, and the choice to be kind. And definitely be grateful if you do it for kindness' sake. I find it much easier to do random acts of kindness when you do random acts of kindness to yourself. When you start to truly love yourself unconditionally, as the universe loves you, as within, so without, it just starts to radiate out. Your actions will start to reflect your inner state of being. It's really that simple. If you're doing things for any other reasons than their purest form, that's your ego. And take the negative connotation out of that word. Everyone misconstrues that word. Ego is a necessary functioning part of the human psyche. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. So, on that note, have a good night, and I'll talk to you all again soon.